Hi, I'm Charlotte, I'm a literary agent assistant, and let's talk what to do when you have finally finished your first book, which congratulations, by the way. First things first, please make sure that you are editing your own book as much as you can do by yourself. You don't want to be handing in the first draft to a literary agent. You are able to tell that when you're reading queries, and I say this from experience. I read a lot of the queries that come through for the agent that I work for. It is quite obvious you want to be blowing someone away with your first chapters that you're submitting, so make sure they are as edited as you can possibly get them by yourself. You do not have to be a professional editor, you do not need to reach out to a professional editor, just make sure it's not your very first draft. Secondly, what you are actually submitting to a literary agent is normally three things. So you have a query letter, a synopsis, and then the first sample chapters. Now that is either normally the first 3 chapters, the first 50 pages, or the first 10,000 words. Whichever of those you hit first is kind of what you're doing. If you have really short chapters, obviously go for the first 50 pages. If you kind of make it up like that. If they're really long chapters, go for the first 10,000 words. Whatever is reasonable. You don't want to be sending in 100 pages of work, basically. But they're the 3 things that you are sending in: query letter, synopsis, sample chapters. Your query letter should be including comps, and these should be books. You can include TV and film and other media as well in reference, but you do need to be including books in there somewhere as comp titles, comparison titles, because that is where the agent will be looking at to see where your book lands in the market and to see that there are readers for a book like yours, so make sure you include those. Don't just say it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. That's fantastic. I would be all over it if it was Pirates of the Caribbean kind of themed, but also what pirate books are similar that readers have been picking up that might then your book fit alongside those in the market, if that makes sense. Your query letter should also have a pitch for your book. This is like a couple of sentences or like a really small paragraph. What is your book? Who are your main characters? What are the driving plots? If there are like any main tropes that you want to include, things like that. Key things like an elevator pitch that you can just read. So it's not a synopsis, it's just a couple of lines or a short paragraph. This is what my book is. This is what is going to hook you in, why you want to read it, and why readers will want to read this too. Including a small paragraph about yourself as well is always good, just to know who it is coming through, but it actually doesn't matter that much who the person is. That sounds really horrible. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm sure you're all really lovely people, but the most important things are what is the book about and what are the comparison titles. Also, making sure on query letters that you are addressing the actual agent that you are sending the query to. The amount of query letters that I've received, and it has been to a completely different agent, or it has been to Dear and then brackets name, and they've just not changed that and they've sent that off like that. Or they've put like a because I work for a male agent, and they've put Dear Miss, and I'm like, you haven't even done your research, have you? Or you haven't even cared to change it. It is very obvious when that comes through that you just haven't taken the time when you've been sending this out to anyone and everyone, and whilst that is appreciated that you have done that, it is very obvious and you're less likely to be taken seriously because you can't even take the time to, edit a letter. Your synopsis should be hopefully to a page. If it's just over an A4 page, that's not the end of the world. Don't make it too long. If you can, you want it concise. You want all of the plot details in there, any plot twists. We do want to know the plot twists that are coming. A lot of the time, the way that we work in our agency is we don't actually read the synopsis, which I know it sounds a bit hypocritical why we ask you to write this and hand it in if we're not going to read it. We don't read it when we're reading the query. We read it if we love the sample chapters and your query letter and we decide that we want to go forward with this. We will then read your synopsis to know what would be coming in the full manuscript. And so it is important to have at that point to be able to go, where is your vision for this book going? Do we agree with the plot twists? Do we understand what's happening in this world? Does the magic system make sense? All those kind of things if it's fantasy. So it is important to do that and keep it as concise as possible, but whilst putting in all of the necessary things, and make sure again that those plot twists are in there and explained. Once you've got your kind of query package all together, so your query letter, the synopsis, and the sample chapters, you then are going to start compiling a list of agents that you want to send it to. Now, the easiest way to do this is through a website called Query Tracker. Not everyone uses this, you don't have to use this. I don't personally use it. I mean, I haven't written a book, but Query Tracker is basically a way that you can look up different agents and then see what their manuscript wish lists are, see where they are in the world, if they're open to submissions or if they're not, things like that. It's a really helpful way if you don't know where to start to go on and just have a look down the agent list and go from there. You don't have to use Query Tracker. A lot of people just generally search literary agents. So I'm in the UK, so I'd go literary agents UK and have a look down there and go through the various different agencies that pop up, and then go to the about section, go to the team, and then flick through the different agents. And on every literary agency website, on the team section, they will have their manuscript wish lists and in more depth than it would be on Query Tracker on the website. So if you were to go onto, so I work for Darley Anderson, or Darley Anderson Literary Agency, if you would go onto his profile, it says the bullet points that are on Query Tracker of the I'm looking for this, 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 but it also has paragraphs down the side of this is why, and this is exactly what I'm looking for, and to the point, and this is like the comparisons we're looking for, and why I'm looking for this, and in more depth for each of those things. Now that is quite normal on literary agency websites. So if you're using Query Tracker, I would recommend making a list of agents from the bullet points of what is on there, of what they're looking for, that you like the sound of these agents, then go to their actual agency website and look at their profile and see and look in more depth on their website. And from there, you just submit to agents. Now, each agent is going to have a slightly, or agency is going to have a slightly different way of submitting. I can't speak to other agencies. I don't know how Query Tracker has it all listed. I don't know if you can submit via Query Tracker. I don't use it myself personally. Like I said, I am not writing a book. I am on the agent side of it. But at our agency, all I can say is that you go on the website and there is a submission portal, and you literally, it's along the top, it will say, you know, like about the agency, about the team, all this kind of stuff, and then it goes to submissions, and you click on submissions, takes you to a submissions portal. You will then go through and you'll be like, oh, I'm wanting to submit to this agent, it's this genre, and then it gives you the option to attach your synopsis and your query letter and your sample chapters, which please do. Some people submit the same thing 3 times because they haven't paid attention to what they're supposed to be, or they haven't written out the synopsis, so they just attach the sample chapters twice. Please don't do that. Please actually submit all 3 things that you're being asked to submit, whether that is on our agency website or if you're looking at a different agency. Listen to what they're saying and submit what they're asking you to. But it's a really easy process. It's just a submission portal. It then sends an email to the agent. It comes through into the assistant's inbox, which is, in my case, Darley Anderson's queries come through to me. I then put them in various different inboxes based on different things, and myself and Darley go through them and have a look at what is come through. And it will be on their websites as well for the different agencies what the return, well, that's not the right word, the response time will be. So like for our agency, it's normally between 8 and 12 weeks. I'm quite up to date, so I'm actually working on only a month, so 4 weeks, but it can be up to 8 to 12 weeks depending on the agent. And I know some assistants have far more queries coming in than others, and so it depends on that as well. So this was a very rambly video, I'm aware, but hopefully that kind of walks you through all the way from finishing and editing your manuscript to putting together the query package to submitting and using Query Tracker and things like that. So if you have any further questions, please do let me know. I will answer what I can. Obviously, I'm on the agent side of it, and so I don't know, like I said, about Query Tracker itself. I don't have an account. I only have like flicked onto the website, and there's only so much you can do without like signing up to the website, which I don't know if that costs or not. I couldn't tell you, but it is an international thing. It's not just for the UK. Query Tracker is international, and you don't just have to go for agents that are in the UK if you're in the UK, or US if you're in the US. You can go to agents globally. Most agents work globally at the moment. I know that we have authors who are based in the US. We have authors that are based in Australia, who are based in France. It doesn't really matter where you're based, so therefore your literary agent is completely down to you where they're based. Obviously, like, UK agents are better for the UK market. We know what we're looking for, but we also do know the US market as well. We do know all of the international markets, so it is down to you just to do those research with the agents. But yeah, if you have any further questions, I hope this wasn't too rambly and was very helpful, and yeah.